Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started, and that recording will be available as well.
All right.
Okay, thank you, ladies, so much for your patience. Thank you so much again for joining me. My name is April Robbe, and I'm co-owner of Sea and Sun Travel Agency, and I'm located in Lake Wylie, South Carolina, just south of Charlotte. Just to also tell you a little bit about us, we have been proudly serving our customers here in Lake Wylie for 5 years. I am a certified travel advisor, and I personally design and host all of my women's journeys. So every time you book a journey with me, I will be the one leading the group with you. And I also fully customize and handpick every one of my experiences. About 2 years ago is when I started hosting these journeys, and I love being able to bring women together and that love to travel, experience new cultures, and creating lasting new friendships with one another along the way. Today, I can tell you I have 5 journeys planned for 2027, and I'm already in the planning stages for 2028. And with regards to our journey eligibility, with regards to this particular trip, you do need to be a US citizen and a legal resident. That is due to all of the payments that are in US dollars, the travel services, as well as all of our US based systems. So I do want to mention that up front with you guys, just so that you make sure you understand how the terms and conditions and the booking works with this experience. This evening, I'm proud to announce that I have our supplier, Europe Express, and I have Chad along with us this evening, and he's going to give us a presentation of this amazing journey that we will be leading next June. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton over to you, Chad.
All right. Thank you so much, April. And thank you to everybody for spending some time this evening to learn a little bit more about this amazing trip that April has worked with my team to create. She's been collaborating with our groups department to like hand create this itinerary from scratch. So it's all been very thoughtfully put out. And we're really excited to have you guys join today to learn a little bit more. And, it really is exciting to think about a place like Iceland because it is very unique in terms of geography and culture and even all the way down to the cuisine. So by the end of the presentation, my goal is that you will be able to imagine yourself standing next to some cool waterfalls, soaking in those geothermal lagoons, watching icebergs drift by, experiencing one of the most unique countries on Earth. So we'll just go ahead, we'll dive right into what this 6 day, 5 night journey is going to look like. But of course, before we jump in real quick, again, I'm Chad Long. I'm a strategic account manager with Europe Express. April is with one of our top producing agencies, so we have a very good, well-standing relationship. And I've been fortunate enough to travel throughout Europe for both work and personal. And of course, while Switzerland has always been one of my favorite destinations, Iceland is truly unlike anywhere else in the entire world. And really, every time I go somewhere new in Europe, my favorite destinations change. So it, Iceland is unique because it doesn't really feel like Europe. It doesn't feel like North America. It just kind of feels like you're visiting a completely different planet all on its own. So that's exactly why so many travelers fall in love with it. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll have your interest piqued enough to want to join this amazing trip we've put together. So a little bit of a glance at like the table of contents, what we're going to be covering. This is not going to be like a 45-minute long like lecture or anything. This is going to be super quick, just kind of going day to day on what we've planned and some of the basics on Iceland. Um, we'll review exactly what's included in the package, what's not included, so you're fully aware of all of that. And then finally, at the end, I'll share some packing tips, and most importantly, how to reserve your spot with April on this trip. So, of course, before you arrive somewhere new, I always think it's fun to just know a little bit about a place. So, we're going to just cover some of the basics about Iceland. But Iceland, it may be small in population. It's actually only about 380,000 people that live there, which is smaller than a lot of US cities. But it is absolutely massive in terms of natural beauty. So, everywhere you go, you'll find volcanoes, glaciers, waterfalls, lava fields, black sand beaches, geothermal hot springs. The country, it literally sits between the North American and European tectonic plates. So that means you're visiting one of the most geologically active places on planet Earth. And one of my favorite facts about Iceland is that despite all of the dramatic landscapes, it is consistently ranked as one of the safest countries in the entire world. In fact, it's number one. So it's a very, very safe destination. And it's incredibly clean, incredibly friendly. And because you're traveling in late June, you will experience something that's truly special, which is the midnight sun. So in Iceland over the summer, you have nearly 21 hours of daylight every day. So imagine finishing your dinner at 9 or 10 p.m. and it still feels like late afternoon outside. And it gives you so much extra time to explore and enjoy every moment of being in Iceland. And of course, the question I always get about Iceland is, will it be cold? And surprisingly, not as cold as you would think. June is really one of the best months to visit Iceland. Temperatures, I'd say, are generally in the 50s, so you want to think like comfortable sweatshirt weather. The biggest thing isn't the temperature, it is the changing weather. So you may experience sunshine, mist, a little wind, all within the same hour. So that's part of the adventure, and that's really why packing layers is key so you can be comfortable in any type of weather situation. And Iceland's food scene has definitely come a long way. I know when you think of Iceland, you don't really think of like, food capital of the world, but it's definitely come a long way. Fresh seafood is incredible in Iceland. Their lamb is considered some of the best in the world because the sheep they roam freely in Iceland, so they have some really really great lamb. You'll also get to try a skewer, which is kind of like a very rich Greek yogurt. And during the tour, you'll even stop at the famous tomato farm where the tomatoes are grown year round using geothermal energy from beneath the earth. So it's one of those uniquely Icelandic experiences that you simply just cannot recreate anywhere else. And the nice thing about Iceland is it's incredibly easy for American travelers. Almost everybody speaks English, so the language barrier is truly almost non-existent there. Credit cards are widely accepted virtually everywhere. Tipping isn't expected. The tap water is some of the cleanest water that you'll ever drink. But one thing to remember is before you enter any of the geothermal spas, everybody showers first. That is like a huge etiquette thing. You want to shower before you get into the geothermal spa. It's just a very standard part of Icelandic culture. Okay, so now for the fun part, we're going to actually walk through the journey that we've handpicked together and go day by day so you can see what my group's team and April have collaborated on over the last few months. So the departing day from America is June 19th, which means you'll land in Reykjavik on June 20th. So after you land in Reykjavik, you'll meet your guide and private coach at the airport, and they will introduce you and walk you into the motor coach that you guys will be using, and you'll drive right into Reykjavik, which is Iceland's colorful capital city, for a real short driving tour of the city while you're en route to the Grand Hotel, which is where you'll stay for that first night. And on that short little tour of Reykjavik, we'll visit the Perlan observatory section, which is one of the best observation decks in the entire country. There's incredible panoramic views of the entire city, the mountains, the coastline. It is one of those unique places where you get to see mountains right up along the coast, and that observation deck is one of the best places for photos. So right off the jump, you're being taken to one of the best photo places on the entire country. And then, of course, after that, you'll have some free time to either explore on your own or get some sleep, shake off the jet lag. A good thing about Iceland, too, is geographically, it's a lot closer to the US than the rest of Europe. So that cuts your flight time by like an hour or two, just because it's a little bit closer to us. So after you shake off the jet lag or explore a little bit on your own, everyone comes together on night one for a welcome dinner. And that's one of the things I love the most about group travel is that by the end of night one, everybody already starts to feel like friends. So, and especially like I know that April has done a really good job at selecting attendees for this trip. So it's going to be a really good group, and everyone will get to officially meet at the welcome dinner that night, which is of course included in the package. So day three is really where Iceland will start showing off. So you'll be standing right in the middle of two continents. Thinglet Thingvellir, I'm going to try my best not to butcher these Icelandic words. Thingvellir National Park is pictured here, right there on the right. And here you can watch geysers erupt every few minutes. There's a lot of really fun photo opportunities where you can be like, oh, like right in front of the geysers as they're like exploding behind you. You'll also visit the Jökulsárlón, which is one of the country's most breathtaking waterfalls. And then we'll stop at the famous Friðheimar tomato farm. So that's the tomato farm that I mentioned earlier, where we'll have lunch there, which is included in the package. The lunch will be served inside a greenhouse surrounded by thousands of tomato plants, the freshest tomatoes you've ever tasted in your life. And you'll also get a chance to meet Iceland's famous horses, a breed that has been isolated on the island for over 1,000 years. They are small, they're incredibly friendly, and they're completely unique to this country. So those are kind of a quick look at those tiny little friendly horses over there that you can see on the bottom right. So day 4, this is probably the day that you've seen all over Instagram. You know, on this day in the South Shore, you'll visit some waterfalls that you can literally walk right behind. The most famous waterfall is called Seljalandsfoss, which is quite a mouthful. But once you get to Seljalandsfoss waterfall, that is the one that you can walk behind, and there's so many pictures all over social media from this exact spot because it is so iconic. And it'll provide a very unique experience with nature. And then, of course, you'll be able to stand on some of the most dramatic black sand beaches you've ever seen. There's towering basalt columns that you can also drive beneath these massive glaciers. Every single stop feels like just another desktop wallpaper coming to life. Now, if I had to pick one day that people talk about after the return home, it is probably what you're going to experience on day 5. So we'll be cruising amongst the floating icebergs at Glacier Lagoon, which is, again, a very iconic spot. It's all over social media. It's all over everyone's desktop wallpapers, where all the chunks of ice are always floating around. And then especially at Diamond Beach, which is that photo near the bottom there. Diamond Beach is where chunks of crystal clear ice wash ashore on black volcanic sand. So the contrast is really unique and something that's very special to Iceland. It's one of the most photographed places in the entire country. And seeing it in person is definitely very unforgettable. And then, of course, no trip to Iceland is complete without experiencing the Blue Lagoon. So you want to imagine like relaxing in warm, mineral-rich water, surrounded by black lava fields, drink in your hand, silica mud mask on your face. It is definitely the perfect way to celebrate an incredible week before the farewell dinner, which will be that night. So it's a 5-night, 6-day trip. Of course, if you're planning on extending on either side, April can definitely help you with that. But the core trip is these 5 nights, 6 days. So at this point, day 7 or day 6, sorry, this is the time where you'll probably already be planning your return trip. Iceland definitely has that effect on people, and the scenery is unforgettable. But it's also the memories you make with the group. Like I mentioned, April has been working with building these women's groups for years now, and she has a great reputation in the industry for it. So you're definitely in great hands with her as your group leader, and she has put together such a fun itinerary with lots of great tours and great hotel stays as well. So one thing that I always encourage people to look at is the value, not just the price. So this trip includes your hotels, it includes breakfast every day, private transportation, guided sightseeing, Blue Lagoon admission, the glacier boat excursion, welcome and farewell dinners, a couple meals in between, and so much more. As you can see, we've broken it down right here in bullet points. So really, everything has been thoughtfully planned so you can simply just enjoy the experience and be present on your Iceland trip instead of having to worry about logistics and all of that stuff because we've taken care of that for you. So before we wrap things up, I'll throw in some packing tips before handing it back over to April, who can give some more insight into the trip and some housekeeping notes, and we can do our best to answer any questions you guys might have. But Iceland definitely isn't a destination where you need to pack fancy clothes for. You want to pack for comfort. So layers are going to be your best friend. Waterproof shoes are definitely a must. Uh, you don't want to forget a swimsuit, of course. There's tons of spas and lagoons that you'll be dipping into. There's very few places in the world where you'll want to jump into hot geothermal water that's surrounded by lava fields, but Iceland is definitely one of them. I would suggest bringing an eye mask as well for sleeping since the sun is up the majority of the day. So if you have trouble sleeping in the daylight, probably bring an eye mask to help you out with that. Bring flip-flops, of course, for the spa. Definitely don't forget your European plug adapter. You don't want to be that person who's constantly having to borrow that to charge your phone every day. Very easy. You can grab that on Amazon next day delivery. And then, of course, bringing a good amount of sunscreen and a reusable water bottle is also very highly recommended. So, as we wrap up tonight, I encourage you not to think of this as just another vacation, but it is one of those bucket list destinations that people dream about going to for years. And the beauty of traveling with this group that April has put together is that everything has been planned for you. So, you simply just get to show up, be present, enjoy the experience with a wonderful group of fellow travelers. And if this trip has sparked your interest at all, I wouldn't wait too long. Group space is limited, and Iceland continues to be one of Europe's most sought after destinations, especially during the summer months like June. And we have secured a group block to match this itinerary. So your spot will, you want to grab your spot before all of the availability fills out. So as you can see, we have April's contact information up here for you to reach out and inquire about anything we may not have covered on the call. You can reach out to April with any questions, and if you're ready, she can go ahead and collect deposit to confirm your spot. But we would absolutely love to have you join April and Europe Express on this trip next June for what I think would be an amazing week in Iceland. So that's it for me. I'll pass the baton back over to April, and we can do some Q&A if you guys have any questions.
Thank you so much, Chad. What a great presentation. You really represented Iceland very well.
Thank you.
Okay, so I wanted to go over a couple of details. So with regards to, there was a couple of little errors on there, so I just wanted to make sure that we cover the dates and the length of stay really quickly. So we're going to depart the US on Saturday, June the 19th. We will arrive in the evening, or sorry, the morning of the 20th, and that is when the actual journey starts. And it ends on Thursday, June the 25th. It's 6 days and 5 nights. So I just wanted to kind of cover that because there was a little error there. And with regards to what makes this journey special or different is this is a small group atmosphere. It's up to 28 total women. We're going to have relaxed mornings. There's no huge buses to where you have to worry about starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. There's 40 people. This is more smaller and intimate. Most days do not begin until at least 9 a.m. So that's what's really nice about this journey. Now, will there be a couple of days here and there that might start a little earlier? Yes, but we will not start any earlier typically than 8:30, and that's just maybe based on the journey that we have ahead of us for that day. Other things would be is typically your day would wrap up around 4:30, 5 o'clock p.m. Of course, if we're all having a wonderful time, we're taking pictures, we may run a little bit later than that, but that is our average completion time. And we actually have dinner every evening included, not just the welcome and farewell dinners. I have placed dinner every evening because we are in some very remote areas in the country, and there's not a lot of city areas for you to be able to go out and get dinner. So I wanted to make sure that I included dinner as part of your experience so you didn't have to worry about where am I going to go to dinner tonight. Everything's been strategically taken care of for you. That also allows you guys to form more friendships and, down the road, maybe travel together as well. With regards to what is included, again, your airport round trip transfers are included for the group. Typically, you're going to want to schedule your flight to arrive around 9 in the morning. Most flights typically arrive between 9 and 11 a.m. from the US. All of your sightseeing experiences on the itinerary, no hidden surprises when you arrive. That is what makes this group tour a little bit different. Some tours, you actually select optional tour experiences. You do not have to worry about that. All the tours are and experiences are included. The exception is when you have some of your leisure time after maybe when we get into the hotel in Reykjavik, after our little sightseeing tour, or the last morning you want to kind of explore on your own, or in the evenings after dinner. The private coach throughout the journey, we have our own designated private local guide and storytellers, I like to call them. The hotel porterage, all 4-star boutique accommodations, your daily breakfast, as I had mentioned earlier, all of your dinners are included. And we also have the lunch at the Tomato and Horse Farm as well. Water and soft drinks are also included in all of your meals. With breakfast, you typically have waters and juices and so forth. Really nice buffets are typically going to be included. Alcohol is available for purchase separately in the evenings. What is not included, obviously, your international airfare, but I can assist you with regards to making recommendations of how to best utilize your flight to Iceland. Your gratuities are not included, but as Chad mentioned earlier, they do not expect gratuities. It's just if you really feel that they've done an amazing or exceptional job, giving them, just a little bit something, they'll be really appreciative. Again, the only things that meal-wise are not included is actually going to be your 4 lunches, souvenirs, passport requirements, entry, exit application or processes, and of course, travel insurance that is not included. As I mentioned earlier, the group is a minimum of 18 ladies, maximum of 28. We already currently have 13 ladies registered with us, and actually quite a few ladies are actually on this call this evening that I can see with us. So I'm super excited you're able to join us. The investment for this tour package based on double occupancy, which I currently have available, is $5,237 US. That is per person. And I do have a roommate locator service available. So if anybody is looking to go, but maybe they, are unable to do the solo because the solo rate is currently fully booked, I can assist you with finding a roommate. I currently do have a wait list for solo occupancy as well, but I can tell you the 2 ladies that are interested or that are currently booked in those solo rooms, I know they're very, very much invested in going. So it is very possible that those spaces will not open up. So if you are interested, definitely secure your space in the double occupancy. And with regards to the payment schedule, so only $50 is due at time to secure your spot or with your reservation form, which is through our booking site. And once we reach those 18 ladies, a $500 US dollar deposit will be due at that time. And then the final payment is not due until March 29th, but you can make payments along the way if you would like. I just like to ask that it's no more than once per month, just because I have to log into their booking site to make it for you. Let's see, with regards to some extra incentives, so I'm not sure if everyone had a chance to go to the booking page. So once we have our final total number of ladies that are booked with us, at final payment, we have some extra in savings that we will be able to pass along to you, which could be anything from 3 to 14% off of your rate. So the rate that you have right now is what the rate is as of this moment. And then once we have the final total of women that are joining us, then I'll be able to let you know what your actual savings is going to be. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Okay, and I think I've covered the majority of the little extra things I want to make sure I covered. So what I want to do now is open it up for you guys to be able to ask any questions. It looks like you should be able to unmute yourself right now.
I also will say that I saw a question come through while you were talking in the
Oh,
chat.
okay.
What is the local currency for cash tips, euros, dollars, etc.? So the local currency in Iceland is the Icelandic krona. So if you do plan on tipping, that's typically what they would accept. I don't think they'll really accept US dollars. But again, if you pay with credit card, that's widely accepted, so you can always add a tip on top of that. But if you want to go cash, I would try to get some of the Icelandic krona before you head overseas.
Absolutely. And part of my process is I assist my ladies with a bunch of resources and tips and tricks prior to travel. And that's one of the things that I will actually say, okay, ladies, now it's time to go ahead and order your currency from your local bank. Some banks you might expect 2 weeks turnaround, some it's only 24 hours. With this currency, we should be able to get it in within 2 weeks at the latest. So it's just one of those little extra tips and resources that I do provide for my clients. So you'll get a lot of information from the time you book all the way until your departure date. And again, I will be personally leading you in addition to the driver and the guide so that you know that you're taken care of along the way. All right, so does anybody have any other questions? You guys can go ahead and unmute yourself and just maybe raise your hand real quick before you go ahead and talk so don't have everybody talking over each other. All right, looks like Laura.
Yes, I was wondering if my daughter, I know this is a women over 50 travel group, but I was wondering if my daughter could travel with me on this trip.
Yeah, the only thing I would just suggest is if she's at least 18 years of age or
Yes.
older.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this actually, my average woman age is actually between 40 and all the way up to 80 years old. We actually have some women that are traveling with us that are almost 80 years old. So the only thing I would suggest is just to make sure that you're physically able to travel. We're not able to accommodate any scooters or walkers or wheelchairs just because of the terrain that we're on this experience. And we want to make sure that everybody is comfortable. So mostly it's just to make sure that you're able to travel, you're able to walk on your own. This isn't going to be a major hiking type of tour. So you are going to do some walking, but I would not expect to be walking up a major mountain or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, do we have any other questions?
Yes, I know you reference wearing a night mask. Do the hotels have room darkening shades or drapes or something, or is it going to be bright?
They do. I personally need it very dark in my room and I wear an eye mask. So yes, they do, but is it going to block 100% out? No. You're going to see a little bit around the edges. So I would just make sure that you wear a mask just to help because we're so used to it getting dark here in the US sometime between 9 and, maybe 10 p.m. at the latest, depending on how far north you are in the US. So I would just at least try to wear a mask. And I personally take melatonin to kind of calm down in the evening because we're going to be out exploring. It's going to be very exciting, but we're probably going to be pretty tired too at the end of the day. It's just our body's not used to it being lighter that late.
Thank you.
Mhm.
April, I do see a couple questions in the chat as well, in case you haven't seen them. But
Okay.
Sally asked if a link to this session will be provided so she can share with some friends.
Yes, absolutely. So by tomorrow, I will send out an email to all the ladies that attended this evening, and it will include the booking page link as well as the video. It does take a little while for this large of a file to upload to my system, so expect it sometime tomorrow morning. And it'll be sent through my email, info@seeandsuntravelagency.com.
Awesome, very good. And then Jessica asked if you have an average cost for flights, which I know that can be very,
Yeah, it depends on where you're coming from. I would say from the East Coast, you're probably looking around $800 to $1,000. And also it depends on your hub airport. Some airlines and hubs are a little bit better than others. Like Charlotte, we're on the more expensive side, as well as like Chicago, the rates are so much better. So it really just depends on what airport you're coming from and if your airline is a hub there as well. But I would at least budget around $1,000, but give or take, from there, depending on the airport you're coming from. For those that are coming from Charlotte, the best airport would most likely actually be Raleigh. It's a nonstop flight. So I can help you with what airport you're coming from and make a recommendation of what the best flight would be. That's actually part of my services as well. The only thing I don't do is actually book group flights just because I'm also traveling myself and I cannot assist you in the event that you have any travel delays or cancellations because I'm in travel as well.
Sounds good. Well, those were the only two questions that were in the
Okay.
chat. So unless
Thank
anybody
you.
else has a question, we're still open Q&A right now in case anybody has something. But if you think of something later, you can always reach out to
Yeah.
April. You have her contact information, and I'm happy
So
to help answer.
I wanted to ask, who's excited and feels more confident after today's call and webinar? And if you guys want to even put anything in the chat box, like Iceland or puffers is something I'm really looking forward to seeing. And if you guys just want, to put something in the chat box or just let me know how excited you are. I'm really looking forward to you guys all joining me. And again, I'm personally leading you, so you'll see me in Iceland, and obviously I'll help you along the way with any questions that you have, or if you need me to look over any information for you for flights.
April, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Will you cover, or will there be transportation covered for the people that plan to extend their stay either before or after?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So for those that want to do a pre and post stay, I will actually work with Europe Express to extend your accommodations, depending obviously if you want to do it on the front or the back end, and then we can assist you with arranging for your transfers as well. So absolutely, everything can be taken care of for you. All of your extra experiences that you guys want to do, I will most likely be staying at least one night extra. I just gotta, make sure that it logistically works at this point. But because my husband's also traveling over to Machu Picchu, so we're just logistically making sure that that works. So I will be able to also, if you want to book any excursions like Sky Lagoon or do maybe a whale watching excursion, something like that, we can definitely help you book that as well. So it's really everything's just kind of one-stop shop.
Very good, very good. And we have some excitement in the chat as well. Got a couple of people saying they're excited to stand on two of the continental plates. They're excited for the tomato
Yeah.
farm and the glaciers. I do see another question. Do you also let us know when we should begin booking flights?
Yes. So it's a little too early right now. Typically, it's about 330 days is when the flights are released by the airlines. I really don't like to book flights that early because it's really kind of up in the air. They don't really have anything firm at that point. So yeah, typically around 9 months is where I like to book, maybe 8 months. So yes, I will definitely make that recommendation, especially when I'm ready to book. I'll be like, okay, guys, we're ready to book flights. Let's get our flights booked now. And I will also request that information so that I can make sure I add that to your itinerary and also assist you with booking the best flight to make sure that you are able to take advantage of the group transfers to the hotels and then your return trip back to the airport. Now, with that being said, one thing, a lot of those flights are actually in the evening on your departure day or late afternoon. So you actually do have some time in the morning to be able to explore, but we'll try to push that return transfer time as late as possible in the afternoon so that you guys can enjoy Reykjavik for that last few hours if you'd like.
Very good. Well, that's actually all the questions I can see in the chat.
Me
So I
too.
think we've covered just about everything. But thank you guys again for signing on today. I think that we've put together a really amazing itinerary, and I'm glad to see the excitement. So definitely get in touch with April if you're ready to place down that deposit and secure your spot.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening. We look forward to helping you book this amazing women's only journey to Iceland. And again, if you have any questions, just let me know and look forward to the recording tomorrow.
Bye, everyone. Have a good
All right,
night.
thank you, everyone. Have a good
Yeah.
evening.
Thank you.